Hey guys, welcome to another video. I know it's been a long time since I put out any content, so I wanted to take a moment to just bring you a quick channel update. So today I want to touch on three things. One, my Basin and Range Trail through hike. Two, when to expect videos and all the content related to that through hike. And three, my future hiking plans. Oh, and if you're looking to follow along on any of my adventures, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook under the name Seeking Lost. While on trail, I use Facebook to post updates, a quick write-up and maybe some photos. And after my hike, after I've had a chance to edit my photos, I'll go through and choose the best ones and post those to Instagram. And finally, don't forget to check out my Patreon page if you're looking for ways to help support this channel's ability to bring you better content more frequently. So first, let's talk about the Basin and Range Trail. And you probably haven't heard much, if anything, about it, and that's because it's a brand new through hike route. It's something that I created earlier this year. I started working on it in the spring, and then I hiked it from June 1st to August 6th. And the Basin and Range Trail is roughly 1,000 miles, give or take, depending on the actual route that you take. And it traverses the central Nevada region of the Great Basin. It's an area that really nobody talks about at all, and that's kind of why it was so appealing to me, because I knew nothing about it and it honestly looked pretty cool. So I did some research on the area. It turned up very, very little actually, almost nothing from a hiking perspective. I plotted out a route and I just went for it. And I gotta say, it was one of the most incredible, amazing, rewarding experiences of my life, surely one of the toughest. And I will say that hiking Nevada has redefined my definition of three words, and that's desolate, isolated, and remote. I now have a new perspective of those words, and Nevada, I believe, is kind of at the top of that from what I've experienced in lower 48. It's really unlike, it's almost impossible to describe. I'll let the videos speak for themselves when they come out. But yeah, Nevada is an awesome, awesome hike. It's an awesome place. There's a lot of mountains, there's a lot of ridge walking, and then there's basins in between each of these mountain ranges. And believe it or not, Nevada is actually the most mountainous state in the lower 48. It's got 310, 314, 320, depending on how you count those mountain ranges. It's got over 300 mountain ranges, and that's more than any other state in the lower 48. So it's got a lot of mountain ranges. They all run north and south. They're pretty much parallel to each other. And then in between these mountain ranges, you have these just vast open basins, deserts. And they're actually not the deserts that a lot of us think about when we think about desert, with a bunch of sand and, cactus and stuff like that. It's a bit of a higher elevation desert. And I think the one thing everybody asks me is, how's the water? What was the water like? Did you find water? Were you thirsty? Was it dry? And surprisingly, it really wasn't as much of an issue as I initially thought. I would say the water on the Basin and Range Trail is very comparable to what a CDT hiker would find in New Mexico. Basically, you're getting water once a day. You're probably drinking out of a spring or a trough or an old tire, maybe something that was improved by a rancher. This is typical of lower elevation water sources. Up in the mountains, you might find some more natural water sources. Many ranges had flowing creeks and even small waterfalls. There were many days where water was like a once a day thing, and then there was a good number of days where there were multiple water sources per day. So I didn't really find it to be much of an issue. I think my biggest carry was maybe 25 miles in between water sources. So what's so great about Nevada, right? Well, that's what I wanted to find out with this route. That was kind of the whole point. I really didn't know what to expect. I saw some pictures and some of them look pretty beautiful, really. But is that indicative of the whole state, or is it just like one pocket, And I found quite a bit of variety actually in Nevada. And it's one of those states that, you really can't appreciate from the road. You drive by and it all looks brown, it all looks plain. But once you actually get up into the mountains, there's a surprising amount of green. There's, flowing creeks and they're lined with, green trees and, actually quite horrible bushwhacks. I found caves, waterfalls, mines, hot springs, all sorts of just amazing things just tucked away. And I think for me, that was kind of, a big part of the allure of Nevada really is just the opportunity to, come across and find and discover these things, kind of like on the fly, and not really know everything about what the trail holds. And that's kind of true with a lot of these big trails, the CDT, PCT. You can read other people's guides and experiences and things, and they have all these places plotted out that you can just see along the way. And on the Basin and Range Trail, every day is basically discovery. It's up to you to take this route or that route, depending on you know, what you see is the best path with your own eyes once you get out there, because you know, because at home when I'm planning these routes, you know, I'm looking at topographical maps, maybe satellite imagery, and it's a completely different thing to be there with your own eyes. And sometimes you just want to kind of go where your eyes and your heart tell you to go, instead of you know, the path that has been drawn for you. And that's the great thing about the Basin and Range Trail, is it gives you that opportunity. And I could go on and on about the trail and all the particulars of it and what I liked and what I didn't, but I'll save that for the videos. And that brings me to point number 2, is when are these videos coming out for the Basin and Range Trail? So when I got back home to Michigan in mid-August, I had basically no motivation to begin the massive task of editing 52 hours of footage that I had accumulated filming on the Basin and Range Trail. And instead I was out fishing on my kayak, trying to take advantage of, you know, the remaining months of good weather we have here in Michigan before a long, cold, dark, gray winter sets in. And that kind of thing's perfect for video editing. And since I've returned home from Nevada, I've also spent a week exploring North Carolina, a solid 10 days overnight camping, kayaking, fishing, and countless days of fishing here locally. And for me, locally here, fall's the best time of year to catch pike, and that's kind of my target species. So I'm out on the river pretty much every other day now at this point, fishing for at least a couple hours a day. But now with the temperatures getting colder and winter setting in, it is a little bit easier to sit inside and sit in front of that computer now that I'm not looking outside at a beautiful sunny day. I can actually sit inside and not feel too bad about editing video for 10 hours a day, because that's really what it takes. And with my CDT videos, it was a 4-month job really, and about half of that was all day, every day video editing. So it's a massive task that, quite frankly, very few people have time for. But I've only just begun the video editing process really, and really just trying to gauge like the scope and the timeline of this project. It's just so big and so massive. And right now I'm maybe 40% of the way through just watching the 52 hours of footage for the first time. As I'm going through and doing this, I'm making some initial trims and cuts to kind of just trim down and cut out, you know, the obvious footage that I'm not going to use for any reason. And this process, I probably reduce my footage by about half. And since I have so much footage, I'm kind of debating, you know, what route do I go with it? What do I do with all this footage, right? And basically what I'm thinking about doing at this point is producing 3 different video products. Number 1 would be basically like a movie style format. It'd be about 2 hours long, 1 continuous video, pretty self-explanatory. Number 2 would be the vlog series. This would be just like my CDT video series. It'd be music, it's shorter clips, maybe a little bit faster editing. The goal is really to show you as much of the trail as I can, the most variety, the best scenes, and kind of give you, you know, an overall feel of what everything is like. You know, the good parts, the bad parts. Each video in this series would likely end up being maybe 30 to 45 minutes due to the amount of footage I have, maybe a little bit less. There'd be 10 of these videos. There's 10 segments on the Basin and Range Trail. And the other thing I'm thinking about producing is a, I don't know what else to call it. I'm just going to call it a detailed vlog series. And with this series, there would be no music, less cuts, longer clips, more commentary with fewer audio edits. Basically, it would just give you as much information as I can give you, anything of value, because on the vlog series, I always feel like I'm leaving things out, right? Because I'm having to choose the best content to show the best of this segment, right? It ends up becoming more of a highlight reel, and I feel like there's a lot of good content, a lot of good footage that will never see the light of day because it's not good enough for the best of the best video. But for somebody who's wanting to hike this trail themselves, or really just wanting to immerse themselves in the, you know, the experience of this trail and really see everything it has to offer, then maybe the detailed vlog series is for you. I'm not really sure if this is something people want, but I do have a feeling there's a certain segment of viewers that would appreciate that style of content. So I am interested to hear what you think about that. So if you have any thoughts on the matter, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you think. So the first thing to expect would be like a teaser video, you know, maybe just like a 1-minute video that just gives you the highlights of the Basin and Range Trail and kind of gets you excited about the movie and the vlog series and everything, right? So I can't really get started on that until I've at least watched all 52 hours of footage. And like I said, I'm not even halfway done with that. Next after that would be the movie, then the vlog series, and then the detailed vlog series. In addition to the Basin and Range Trail videos, I've also filmed a BRT gear video. I've got some footage from my North Carolina adventures and a couple of other hiking gear modification videos. These won't be edited, of course, until the BRT videos are complete, but I just want to let you know that they are in the pipeline. Now, as far as the timeline goes, when these videos are going to be released, I really can't say at this point. I just don't know. I'm too early in the stage of editing to even give you an accurate timeline. I can definitely say it's not going to be by the end of the year. It's just not going to happen. And here's the other thing. I don't plan on releasing any of the videos except for a teaser or trailer video until all of the videos have been completed and edited. And the reason for this is pretty simple. I'm pretty picky. When I look back at my CDT videos, there was a lot of things that I didn't like about my first couple of episodes that I later improved on throughout editing that series, but I had already released those videos. I can't go back and edit them. So all the audio issues and all the things that I didn't like about the first couple episodes, now I'm just stuck with them. But had I just edited all the videos and then waited to the end and then released them after the entire project is complete, I would have recognized those problems. I would have gone back and fixed them and just been able to produce a more quality series. And that's something that bugs me, and a lot of people probably don't notice at all, but it's something that I notice. And so by waiting to publish that first video until after all of the videos have been edited and completed, I can assure quality and consistency throughout the entire video series. I do also plan to release some detailed information on the route in the form of a website and guidebook, so other people can go ahead and hike this route if they choose. But I don't want to say, here's the first video, the next are coming, and in a couple of months, there's going to be a guidebook. Or I don't want to release the guidebook and say, well, you know, the videos are coming soon. And the bottom line is it's a lot more work than most people realize, and it just takes time to do a quality job. So looking forward to the future, another thru hike is actually right around the corner for me. While I question whether the length of this trail fits the definition of a thru hike or not, at the end of November, I'll be hiking the 207-mile Ozark Highlands Trail in Arkansas. This is supposed to be one of the best trail systems in the South, and it's a region I've yet to explore. So I'm really looking forward to being somewhere warmer than Michigan for a while, exploring somewhere new, and hiking this trail with a mystery guest hiker. So stay tuned to find out who that is. And of course, these videos probably won't be edited until my BRT videos are complete. But more content coming your way when I can finally catch up. Looking into 2021, I've really yet to make any serious decisions on my hiking plans. And there's really no realistic way I can expect to do my big 4,000 plus mile thru hike route that I've been creating for the last 2 years next year. I just don't see it happening. If you're not familiar with it, you can check out my Patreon page. I have a little bit more info there. There's probably the most detailed information I have on that is there. But the way I have the route now, the hike would need to start in March. And with months of work here with the BRT videos, the Ozark Highland Trails videos, and just the months and months of work really I still need to do on that 4,000 mile route, there's just no way it's going to happen in 2021. So that's a pretty good ramble on where I'm at with things right now. I've got a ton of new content coming your way soon. I just ask that you have a little bit more patience. Until then, now is the perfect time to plan your own adventure. So plant the seed, start dreaming, and go for it. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments form below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you on the next video. Happy trails.